Hey, it's Marjory, and it is Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. Welcome to the apocalypse. The collapse of civilization as we know it. Not the collapse of civilization. Well, I don't know. We're in some kind of process like that. Let me not go there. Hey, let me do show and tell right off at the beginning, and look what I got here. This is a 1 terabyte solid state hard drive, and I am almost done with accumulating all of basically my life's work for the last 20 years and getting it on this device. I am so excited. The last thing I need to do is get all the blog posts off of the Grow Network website and put it on here. And I've also got thousands of different ebooks, military survival manuals, all kinds of stuff, small team tactics stuff, food preservation, food cooking, all kinds of crazy, survival preparedness stuff, all the PDFs. And what I'm envisioning doing with this, or we're actually, I'm going to put this together and we'll call it a legacy drive and make it available. I do think we are going to have that, totally off-grid experience soon, right? I think AWS, the cloud services, had another glitch, a little glitch. Just, they're doing another experiment to see your temperament for how you do when you can't log into your bank account or your whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to load this up with all this kind of stuff. So you got it locally. So I got it. I'm doing this because I want all of my stuff. Now, am I going to ever read? No, I'm never going to read those thousands of PDFs. So there's a bunch of other stuff. Am I going to watch all the videos? Hi, Sasha, my little doggy friend. Annoying little barker, but at least nobody's coming up this road that we don't know about. What I'm ultimately, and I don't know how to do this yet, totally going to confess, but what I am going to do, Ruth has done it, is have an AI take like all of this data and read it, scan it, or do whatever AIs do with it, eat it, and then create for me, a survival and preparedness agent that, whatever, that I can just say, hey, I'm in this, I need water filtration. I've got this, that, and the other. Give me 5 ways that I could filter water right now. Whatever. So it's going to be, and the internet is turning into such a shit show. Oh my God, the stuff they're putting out there, and oh my God, the AI makes up all the most ridiculous stuff, and the internet is turning into just a total waste of time. So having a reliable, solid, like I'm grabbing it now, right? I'm grabbing it now. I'm going to stash some other things on here, like the Encyclopedia Britannica, the 1911 version, which is the last kind of before it all got broken. And a few other things like that. Just some really useful information on the drive. So I'll let you know I'm almost done with it. Still got a little more work to do with an AI to translate the blog posts into something I can put on there, and it'll be ready. So anyway, that's my fun. This thing, supposedly you can drop it from some number of feet. I'm not doing that. You can let me know. All right, again, just different things, noticing, observing, news, commentary on the situation as we careen through it. Not in any necessarily organized order. I know you're not expecting that. Okay. I saw this when Michael Yon, the Germans demolished the cooling towers for a nuclear power plant. There is, and Michael's talked about this. Actually, I'm going to do an interview with him coming up really soon here, so that's going to be interesting. Michael Yon, if you remember, he's the war reporter. This guy knows so much about war, and he's been studying war. He reads these old books. He totally understands what's going on and the strategies. They've been used over and over and over again for centuries, and all the tactics and stuff, and apparently the attempts and the campaigns have been written down and recorded, and this is what we do, this is how we replace populations, this is how we kill off populations. Sometimes it can be a little hard to take, but it's better to know the truth, I think. Anyway, he was talking about that there is intentional infrastructure demolition going on all over especially in the Western countries. And yeah, there was some pretty spectacular footage of the water towers, cooling towers in this nuclear power plant. Yeah, I don't know, getting rid of nuclear good or bad or what, or, will we ultimately have zero point energy or something? I mean, we're in a whole vortex of change, but, destroying infrastructure in general is not a good idea. I just don't think that's a good idea until we have something already in place. All right. Oh, goodness. Okay. Hola. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm going to pause this a second. Let's see if I can help these people out. All right. That was, I think we're rolling again. That was my friend Rocky. All right. Let's cross the street here. Without getting killed. It's always nice. Not get killed. Right. So, a friend of mine sent me a story about cows that really like jazz music, and it was on NPR. And I went over there, and I never did find that story, but I ended up listening to another story. NPR is just, well, I think we've all had a period in our life when we listen to NPR, right? I mean, they just always make you feel good. And this story was all about St. Cloud. Michigan? No, it's one of those. Minnesota. And it was talking about this doctor who had created a clinic that really, they were talking about the Somalian population and how they really needed medical care in, the Somali language or Arabic language, or they needed it all in the language, and this doctor had created this clinic just for that, and also with medicines and therapy, and how good we should all feel. And it said, oh, and you know what, in St. Cloud, that the population is about 6% Somalian. And I thought, that's really interesting. I go look it up, and I'm like, no, it's apparently like 50% of St. Cloud is now Somalian or of Somalian descent. I'm like, oh my God, and there's like 175,000 people or 172,000. No, it's a population of 72,000 in St. Cloud, and half of it is Somalian. And they said, oh, and this has just been over the last 20 years. Oh my gosh, the population replacement stuff right there. NPR did not mention any of that, but you sure did feel good about the Somalians that moved there that now have a clinic. I'm always good about humanitarian actions, but gosh, the front they put on it, Okay, the USDA, I went to the website to see this, and everybody's phrasing it, and apparently they had a banner that said, the well has run dry. I wanted to go grab a screenshot of that. I mean, that just seems to me, like, that's a historical URL website banner. The well has run dry. Oh my goodness, how they're manipulating these SNAP payments and doing stuff to people. Ay. I've got more to say on that, I'm sure. More and more job cuts. So this is the trend, right? I'm not bringing this up to depress you. What we're doing is we're talking about what's going on so that you can adapt and change and prepare and not be surprised by it and do what you need to do to live a good life. And, you got to recognize we're all in a huge vortex of change. I was just helping a friend of mine up in Canada, and they own their own land, and her husband recently died. It's actually Lori. Lori loves learning. Wonderful woman, and they're taking land away from people, and they're saying we got to give it back to the indigenous people that we stole it from. Like, this is a complete bullshit thing, but they're doing it. And she's saying, the Russians did this. This is a pretty typical tactic that are used by governments when they're doing this, trying to get people off the land, and that whole thing. Anyway, she's trying to figure out what to do. She's saying, should I start a website business? I said, don't do that, Lori. I promise you, you don't want a website business. I've had one for a long time. You don't want it. You really don't. And it's not working right now. There's a lot of influencers I know that are in this space, homesteading, or, they're hanging the towel up. They're like, it just doesn't convert, doesn't work. I'm not able to make a living doing this. I'm going to do something locally. So anyway, Lori's going to do fine. I said, buy some silver, Lori. Get some coins in your hand. All right, this is really exciting. Elon Musk had his third quarter earnings call, and he did not mention Theta specifically, but he talked about how the idea that they're looking into where there's a whole bunch of unused computer processing power in every single Tesla car that's out there, and how they could network all of them together to make essentially a gigantic data center. It would basically be like a mobile data center. So basically, you're going to network all of the computer power in the Tesla cars. And I looked it up, and there's like 7, almost 8 million Teslas that have been sold. And it's a lot of computing power. And Tesla, by the way, if you bought a Tesla, you don't own that thing. Please don't fool yourself into thinking you own it. They download software, they can turn things on, turn things off, they can do whatever they want. You don't own that car. God knows that they're listening to you and watching you and all the other stuff that's in that car. Anyway, but the whole idea that they can connect up all that compute power, and then he would have all that compute power to basically, run maybe Grok or something like that. The only system that has the network infrastructure to do that, the software, is Theta, the Theta network. And the Theta network has locked it all up in patents. So Theta is not being widely advertised. It's very interesting. A lot of us are speculating because, like, Elon Musk hasn't bought up his stake that he wants. So, in fact, the price, it's astonishing. Like, the really good news about Theta will come out and the price will tank. They also had another announcement that Theta has partnered with Deutsche Telekom, which is also a majority owner in T-Mobile. Huge telecom conglomerate. So, yeah, it's going to be big. Theta is going to be huge, and it's just astonishing that T-Fuel is I think I'm listening more to Bix, and I agree with him. I think T-Fuel is the token in that ecosystem that you want to buy, but I don't think you'd go wrong with either one of them. I've got an interview with Jim Bazzani from Caleb and Brown coming up. So if you've never done crypto, and then I've also made a bunch of videos for you. Look on my Substack channel if you're not on there already, and I show you how to make a Theta wallet. I talk about why the Theta network is going to be, it's foundational. It's just foundational. Like, if you missed out on the internet, you get Theta, because Theta is going to be, the Theta ecosystem is going to be the foundation of human activity and connectivity, going forward. So, I'll have a link for you too if you want to buy some Theta. You can get it at crypto.com. I think Simple Swap, if you're a little more sophisticated, you can pick some up there. And then, a lot of us like to have a broker. And Caleb and Brown is they're really straight up. They're just straight up. They're not leveraging your money or anything like that. It's a flat, 3% fee. It's very reasonable. You got somebody you can talk to. And, interesting, during one of those last AWS outages, you could not access your Coinbase account. But with Caleb and Brown, you could call them up and place an order or place a trade. So I like that. All right. Anyway, I'll have a link down below for Caleb and Brown. But Theta is going to be big. And I don't know why it's not. I don't know. I think it's kind of good that they're holding it back, that they're not going to let it run. I don't know. We'll see. But you know me, I'm a buy. I see something that's really, really valuable. I don't care. It's really, really inexpensive. I'm just going to hold that because I know it's really valuable. And eventually it will come around. All right. Let's see what else we got. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Elon Musk. Oh my God. Pretty sure that guy's an actor. I don't think he runs those businesses. I did that. Loved and really appreciated all the comments. Everybody really liked that piece I did on why evil is more successful. And the gist of it is it's not inherently more successful. The exact same techniques and methods and systems that anybody uses to manifest something is what evil uses and good uses. Just that evil is usually way more focused. Like good is kind of like, yeah, it'll be good. Evil, I wanna control the world, and they like go after it, right? we need to be going after, like, we want peace. Ooh, Jetson.com. You got to go to this website. They've got this little flying car. It has 8 little propellers. It's kind of like your own personal drone, but it's your own little personal aircraft. It's going to be $120,000. You can only fly for 20 minutes, and some of you might have to go on a diet. It's a maximum of 210 pounds. Anyway, oh, it's so cool looking. It's so cool. So go buy some silver and go buy some theta so that you'll have money to buy toys. Right? Toys like a Jetson car. I want a Jetson car. Hell yeah, I want 2. And it's good even if it loses one rotor. And I'm like, I might like a little bit higher margin of error there, like 1 out of 8. Okay. Anyway, actually you let the first of these go through. You let those first ones happen. Yeah. The thing only weighs about 250 pounds itself. It's like carbon fiber, who knows, titanium or something like that. So there's some new stuff coming out, and this is all over the mainstream media, which makes you suspect about it. But New York Post is where I saw it first, with Newsweek. It's all on all of them. And there's a new category called a USO. So we know UFOs are unidentified flying objects, and then there's UAPs. I'm not sure what that means, but it's kind of like in a UFO. And now there's a USO, which is an unidentified submerged object. So huge amount of sightings of USOs all over the world, especially a bunch of them in Fort Lauderdale. And I saw this one interesting YouTube video. This one guy's talking about, an expert who studies UFOlogy, and he says, yeah, all the sightings are on the coast because that's where the people are. Nobody's out. Not many people are out in the middle of the ocean. They're probably out there too, but yeah, lots of sightings. I'm very, very interested in that. Cliff High came out with a post recently with he and a friend supposedly put in a really, really detailed prompt into Grok or whatever on probability of future events and given this and that and the other. And over again, he kind of came back with this long thing that he just put into bullet points. And over again, they were talking, one of the possible forecasts was the coasts, like all the humans would leave the coasts and be going inland. Like something terrible was going to be happening to the coast with like an alien thing going on. So, and then, Cliff is like, this, we don't know if this is really going to happen or not. This is just a possible thing that we've been exploring. I'm like, okay. I'm always interested in things about the coasts, right? Because I live a mile from the coast. So I like keeping up with those conspiracy theories or those theories. Yeah. It was a group called, apparently there's an app called Enigma. Oh, I might have it in here somewhere. I'll see if I find it. Where people are uploading sightings and video and talking about it and stuff like that. And what made me interested in it, why it was all over mainstream media, when you see that, you kind of go, who's really behind this? So we definitely have the mainstream media and the powers that be pushing their angle on the whole UFO thing going on. At this point in time, they're absolutely going to be doing their Project Bluebeam thing. And I think there is a good probability that we actually are going to make contact in significant ways that are undeniable. So I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting future. But yeah, there's a couple more points for you. So I do like to watch stuff with the coast. I mean, there's a lot of people like, get off that island. There's going to be a 1,000-foot wall of water all over the planet. That's why there are people that live on the mountaintops in Tennessee and in Colorado. And mountaintop in Tennessee or Colorado is just beautiful. Wouldn't mind doing that, but I'm here. I love it here. So we'll see. Yeah. So, by the way, there is a very direct correlation. Spent some time looking at this between UFOs, whatever, and nuclear sites, especially nuclear weapon sites. And this correlation happened right from the very beginning, from the very first time we exploded an atomic bomb. So it's very clear. Some possibilities are that when we do a nuclear explosion, it messes up some kind of energetic field or something like that, screws up some sort of alien, who knows, there's something, right? There's a whole lot of stuff we don't know about what happens when you blow up an atomic bomb, because there's a whole bunch of stuff we don't know about the etheric fields and the other fields. So yeah, of course, we're probably doing something beyond what we are. And apparently that really pisses off these aliens, or it upsets them or something. So there's a lot of interaction with alien sightings. Military reports are rife with sightings around that site. So there is some correlation there. All right. My son Ryan, I'm going to get to brag. My son Ryan went to Spain. If you didn't know, he's a powered paraglider, and he teaches powered paragliding. Went to Spain to the World Championships, and he's third in the world. He took third place, field of more than 80 guys, fastest in the world, and just extraordinarily skilled. So happy and so proud. He's done such a good job, and he teaches classes. He's got a place on Crystal Beach, which is just a little bit north of Galveston, and he's built the largest power paragliding school in the United States. So happy mama over here. Let's not talk about my daughter right now. It's a good thing to have multiple children. All right. Here's a funny thing. Somebody sent me this. I thought this was hilarious. He says, it's all about perspective. He says, I have a friend who reads 2 to 3 books a week, works out twice a day, has no financial worries. People want to have sex with him all the time, and yet he constantly complains about how much he hates his life in prison. Yep, it's all about perspective. Michael Yon, oh my God, we're going off the deep end on this. We were talking about, he was talking about, so this November, the Hunger Games are about to begin. And he's actually been hunting cannibals. Like, he has known cannibals. He says cannibalism is actually alive and well, and it's one of those things that most people just don't think about, but there is a surprising amount. There was actually cannibals among us, like people that do this, like this is their thing. A very interesting talk about cannibalism. A lot of people I do a lot of survival stuff, right? And they were all like, Marjory, would you eat another human being? And I said, the average American is a toxic waste dump. I'm sure I could find something else, There's got to be some berries or a coconut or something. I'm not going to do that. By the way, I got an interview with Michael coming up here real soon, and that's going to be good. He's always got a lot of insight. I haven't seen him talking about the aliens much. I'm going to ask him what he thinks about the aliens. All right. Penguin. She's saying she's getting the intuition to get armed. I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And there were some comments about some non-lethal but stops human weapons. It looked pretty good. I went to their website, and the website wasn't totally working. Yeah, well, Oh, by the way, I did a really, really good thing with Jeff Anderson, my friend who does all the military defense. He's a military guy, years ago. And in my perspective, yeah, you got whatever's going to happen, right, with you and your weapon and whatever. The legal system, by far, is more dangerous than that attacker. So you have to be prepared for both. And he has a really great, I mean, when I did it, it was a DVD. He's got a lot of really good information about, like the castle doctrine and all the different things. I'm going to try and hit up Jeff to see if we can do something about that, a promotion or something. Archaics, ARCHAIX.com was a website recommended. Apparently, I'm a part of a group of the people that are here to do good. Yeah, I kind of knew that. Uh-oh. Let's hope I don't get killed. Oh, it's just a motorcycle. They're having fun. Be careful. This road is slippery. It looks like a really good website. So, Patricia talked about rules of the secret, the rules of the secret game, and I totally agree with you, Patricia. It is a secret game, especially the legal system, and that's why I really like. I'm still in my module 4 now of the Sovereign's Way, which is a law course about what those rules are. Like when you saying a word, you think what it means to them in their game, and yet how to use words properly and what that whole game is. And they say it's not a lot you have to learn. I think only 50 different words or so that have a different meaning than what you might think, like a wrong or income, right? Income versus compensation. Then they however you use the word depends on whether you need to play the game of paying taxes or not. So very, very interesting material that they have. It's really for people who are ready to stand up and become very mature men and women. So this is not a get rich quick thing or something. It's all about honor and integrity. Yeah, so incredible material. I really, really recommend. I'll have a link for that down too. All right. Sandy. Oh, she said that Mike Adams now has his Enoch AI ready for download. Sandy, like a month ago, I tried his Enoch thing. It was like you put in a query and then the next day they gave me the answer. I'm like, I can't deal with that time frame. So I know Mike's been working on that, and that's no small feat. So, yeah, I'll have to look into that. AI is really a powerful tool. We just have to figure out how to use it without becoming ensnared in it, or how to use it under our own auspices and control without, having big tech in your underwear kind of a thing. Oh my God, I've got an interview with Lynn McTaggart coming up. Can you believe it? It's November. I booked this, when I booked this interview with her, it was I think March or something like that. And they said, oh yeah, Lynn's available in November. And I'm like, November, the whole thing could have collapsed by then. And now here it is, November. So anyway, I got that coming up. I am very stoked about this because this is something very positive that we can do. I've been watching some of her. There's a wonderful documentary about her. I'll put some of that down below also. She has a book called The Power of 8. Just get a small group, you guessed it, 8, of people together on a regular basis to come together with focused thought and intention for the healing of group members and also for, peace in the area. And, the Transcendental Meditation people had done a lot of work in this area quite a few decades ago. And there is absolutely a correlation with groups that get together and meditate on peace and harmony, and peace and harmony being what happens in an area. And they go in some really difficult areas with high crime rates and they lower them. The thing is when they leave, they go back. But the reason I'm doing this interview with her and the reason I want to bring it to you is it's something we can do. And I want to create a Power of 8 group in my community. I've already been putting the word out. I think I've got 8 people already. They're like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And just meet once a week maybe do like a little 10-minute section on one individual member of the group for whatever they want, maybe personal healing or healing of a loved one or something, and then do 10 minutes on intention that our community is safe and healthy and strong. So I'm going through all the specifics that Lynn recommends for how to structure these groups and do it. But I'm going to have an interview with her. I guess it's actually the week after next. So anyway, it'll take a bit for me to get that up. Let's see. I've got an interview with Jim Bazzani from Caleb and Brown coming up. More on, crypto. He answered a whole bunch of questions I've been collecting from you of like, what's the difference between stable coin? What is a stable coin? A lot of the basics, and then, a little bit about what Caleb and Brown does. So just so you can get to know them, right? I mean, they're not some faceless Coinbase Binance. You'll never get to talk to anybody, and you can do an email for support and maybe hear back from them a week later type deal. They're a real broker thing. Kirk Elliott, I got another one. I think he's like also next week or the week after. He is the golden and silver guy. So, but I'm very excited about the Lynn McTaggart thing. I'm looking more and more for what are solutions that we can do. We're in a spiritual war, right? This is a spiritual war, and we have lots of tools that we can use. Very simple, highly effective tools that we can use to combat this. Oh, by the way, I talked to Deborah. Hey, Deborah. She lives in Florida, and let me step back for a second. I'm looking for information on machines or devices that are weather busters or that disrupt maybe weather weapons or something like that. So I need to reach out to the Anarchapulco folks, but that group that I love meeting up with in Mexico every year. It's a group of anarchists. Man, if you want to have the most fun you're going to have, if you like this channel, you're going to have so much fun at Anarchapulco. I mean, there's so many wonderful people there that are anarchists. And they got attacked by these weather weapons like twice. Like they came and destroyed Acapulco with hurricanes like 2 years in a row, and then there wasn't a whole lot said about it, but I'd heard reference to that they had put up these weather busters. I guess they said something about them being orgone devices or something. I really got to find out the details, and then no more hurricanes. So I am looking into that to also be something to use to protect this community. So if you know anything about it, Deborah, I was talking to her, and she had an amazing testimonial of she lived in Florida, owns her house outright, so she doesn't, and she actually couldn't afford insurance. Totally get it, Florida insurance rates, insane, right? And so she bought one of these weather devices, and she's had it for quite a few years. And she says, yeah, apparently it'll work like within a 30-mile range. And she says, yeah, absolutely, that hurricanes have been diverted. And apparently the guy that she got it from years ago, he's had the black helicopter experience or whatever, and I think he's still alive, but he has to move overseas. I don't know if he's doing it anymore, that kind of deal. Anyway, if you know anything about weather busters, please let me know. Put it down in the comments. I really am quite passionate about seeing what we can set up to protect this community from that. And of course, when I do get a house, I bet you can guess what color we're going to paint the roof. Bright blue. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, there's lots of things we can do. There's a lot. And, we're in some totally crazy times, but there always is a way. There's always a way for us to work. The universe guides and provides. The universe really didn't bring you here to be slaughtered. The universe wants you to thrive. The universe wants you to learn. And part of that learning is saying, I'm see this situation. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to look. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to find a solution, and I'm going to implement it. And I'm going to change that experience. So, what you think, right? And how your attitude is everything. All right. Well, I will talk to you. I'm going to try and do more posting And I did get the feedback that the sound is not that great, so I'm going to see what I can do to work on the sound. Yeah, and we'll talk to you next week. All right, bye.